What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, in the last few Solana videos, we've been talking a lot about what's happening on the smaller time frames, your 4 hours, your 1 hours, your dailies, etc. But in today's video, I want to zoom out a little bit, talk about what's happening from a more macro standpoint, technically and fundamentally, that I do believe is giving us some indication of what the future could look like for Solana. And so with that in mind, we're not going to waste any more time, and we're going to get straight into it. So looking at Solana here, we are now in the moment of truth, as you can tell from the title. Now, Tyler, what is the moment of truth? Well, the moment of truth is when Solana, or any crypto in general, reaches the 618 to 786 zone on its macro retracement. Okay, the macro retracement means from the previous all-time high, as we put in back in November of 2021, to the macro low that we put in back in December of 2022. This is your move. Swing high to swing low. When you draw out your Fibonacci retracements from the swing high down to the swing low, it's going to give you this 618 to 786 zone. This zone right here is the one that I call the party pooper, okay? Because oftentimes what happens is that this is the zone that will reject the crypto's price back to the downside, force it to establish a macro high or low before it can continue to the upside. Now, there are times where we just go straight through it. I'm not going to lie and say there aren't, but it's just not all that common. And so what happens a lot of the time is people get so high and excited, like, okay, we put in the low. Oh, we put in a higher low. We're going. We're good. Skirt. You know, then we get hit by the party pooper. Pulls us back to the downside. We got to consolidate, stabilize. And then when we clear it, now we're looking good to the upside. And so what this means for us is that we're in a point of determining, right? Solana's at a point in which it's going to determine what happens next. Does Solana venture up into this 618 to 786 zone and attempt to clear this Fibonacci retracement level that historically will reject its price to the downside? Or does it just get forced to the downside, forced to establish a higher macro low, build up some more support before it can break through the upside? I guess we'll find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. But nah, in all reality, to me, it doesn't really matter, okay? Let me explain. Now, although this is the moment of truth, and although I am under the belief that if Solana's price is capable of breaking upwards, we could see a move of upwards to $100, which clearly from this point is still a gain of, what's that, 50%, right? About $100, yeah, about 49%. Although that is good, realistically, I'm still under the belief that Solana is going to surpass its previous all-time high, and that includes gains of well over 300, 400, 500% from now. So this little bitty move doesn't really shock me. But also in the same breath, if its price is going to get rejected to the downside and get forced to establish a higher macro low, it's not really a big deal because one, it's up 750% from this previous low, and two, from a fundamental perspective, it's doing extremely well. I mean, look at what's been going on with Solana, for example, right? Let's look at this. So of course, we saw earlier in the week that the Solana's NFT marketplace booms with Tensor in the top spot. Of course, we're starting to see Solana NFTs getting a lot of volume. Of course, that does just help the ecosystem as a whole. We saw that Robinhood launched its crypto trading in the EU and then added Solana, which was delisted in the United States. So now this is just another point of access for your everyday retail investor. Although we saw that the Solana saga only sold 2,500 phones, it did get a ton of good reviews that are going to help them build and market it forward to continuously build more and bring more and more people on. All of these things are amazing. Another thing, of course, Solarium, which was the first major Telegram bot to launch on Solana's chain to allow you to trade on chain, just went live a couple of days ago, which is going to open up so many doors for your everyday retail investor as projects do continuously develop on Solana's chain. You can see here that Solarium bot allows smooth trading on Solana chain while also offering integrated ETH to Sol and Sol to ETH bridging in the bot itself. Now, it also offers some other things such as the take profit function, which allows you, of course, to set the level that you want your position to take profits. The stop loss function, which will allow you, of course, to stop your trade if you do start to go in the red. The anti-mev function, which protects you against sandwich attacks and front run attacks to kind of save you money and protect you on the back end. The anti-rug function, which will safeguard your investments and outsmart fraudulent projects. All of these types of things are now available to people who trade on Solana's chain and maybe people who want to invest in new projects on the chain or on Solana in general. And it's all just through Telegram, right? I mean, you can look here on their Telegram bot. It allows you to access wallets, active trades, referral systems, preference systems, the bridge from Sol to ETH and ETH to Sol, the quick swaps, the transfers, the snipes. All of these things are now available, right? When you have a company like this one bringing so much more value, when you have things going on, such as what's happening with Robinhood, with what's happening with the NFT marketplace, it doesn't really matter if its price pulls back to the downside. Who really cares at the end of the day, right? And so for me at this given point, although this is the moment of truth, I'm not really worried about it. But let me tell you what I would be doing, how you can prepare for it, and how you can identify where this move is going, okay? If Solana is going to continue, and if it is going to start to look for a move to the $100 level, we need to see it get a weekly close above $68 and hold it. Okay, if we get a weekly close above $68 and we can hold support here, there is a very strong likelihood we start to retest some of these higher levels of liquidity, which does start around $77 and ends right around $95 up here. Okay, so I think this move to the upside of 20-30% is incredibly likely if we get the weekly close above $68 and we hold it as support, because we're going to backtest it. If we close up here, we're going to backtest and we need to hold it, then I think that's very likely. If you want to do a long trade with a stop loss set below $68, I don't think that's a bad idea. I have a Margex link down below if you do want to trade with them. No KYC required. They're available everywhere. But what I would say in that same breath is that you need to be careful, because at any given point, as I mentioned, the party pooper might shut this shit down and we might get pulled back to the downside. How do you identify if we're getting pulled to the downside for a macro swing low? If we go under $51 at any given point. If we lose $51 at any given point, the likelihood is here that we're probably going to venture maybe back towards this ascending trend line, or maybe at least just going to kind of circle around this $42 to $45 level before eventually looking to make the move to the upside. Okay, and so if at any given point we fall below $51, likelihood is here we're going to pull to the downside a bit. I think that's a great buying opportunity. That's a great time to dollar cost average. And again, I believe from that point forward, we would then see the continuation to eventually try to clear that 786 level. Okay, so as you can tell, it's the moment of truth, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter where it goes. If we move to the upside, we get the weekly close above $68. We could push towards $75 to $80, maybe even higher towards $100. Well, within the realm of possibilities. If we do pull to the downside here, likelihood is here we try to set that macro high or low, and then we continue into eventually, right? Maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months. But the likelihood is here, guys, in the grand scheme of things, Solana is only just getting started. I think the likelihood of us getting back up towards these all-time highs is becoming extremely more evident, and that's why I'm positioning myself in front of it. And so I wanted to give you just kind of a more macro zoomed out version of what I'm seeing. Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think Solana has a future? Is Solana going back to $20? I would love to hear your comments down there. So of course, let me know. And of course, I hope you guys do enjoy these quick updates, and I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.